The flagship Fenrir, the Runic Fenrir, is out and it changes your build pretty much completely. Hey everyone, Debra here, and welcome back to another Battle Pirates video. Before I get started here, I'd like to mention that I do make all my builds available in my builds document, which is linked in the description of all of these YouTube videos out there, and it is supported by the folks whose names appear below here and on the end screen. If you want your name on these things right here and generally want to support the Pirates work that I do, click the little join button below the YouTube video. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into the Fenrir build. First things first, a little bit of a quick update on the regular Fenrirs. First of all, if you do have the new engine, you are better off to use that one. I'm sometimes using the old one. If you want to know why, go back and check that video. Also, use the limited weapons if you have it instead. You can farm the Forsaken mission targets for these here, but you may run out eventually. As far as the MDS3s, I had originally planned to just go for 2 on the entire fleet. I'm realizing right now that's not going to be enough, and you're going to need 3 or 4 on there. I'm planning on being a little bit safe and going with 4, just because they were getting overwhelmed. I was a little bit wrong about how they worked and how things were getting overwhelmed versus not overwhelmed. But I'm going to go with 4 on here just to be safe, because TSM in the videos we were doing on Battle Pirates Crib just had 2, and that wasn't quite enough. For that reason, I think 4 is going to be pretty good. And that will allow you to deal with up to 40 incoming missiles pretty much every 2 seconds, so it's a little bit more complicated than that. Again, more information in the original video, and a little bit more will come out later if I need to. So this is the original build that we settled on at the end of the video. Let's go ahead and pull up the flagship and take a look at the stats of that one, as well as a few other curious things. This is out in Pillage. I'm recording this before Pillage has started here, but probably posting it after, although the build will be up a little bit earlier than that. Nothing too exciting in terms of the base hull and the upgrades between U1 and U3, but where we do see exciting things is the special abilities. We have the Haiti and the Scroll Spawner, 2 interesting little drones that you're going to spit out that are going to have effectively 20 million armor points for assault, and spit out some debuff auras out here in terms of combat speed, reload, and enemy damage, which should be pretty interesting. That part doesn't really change your build. What does is the base armor points on the ship, which is 2.1, or which is 3 million higher than the standard Fenrir. The standard Fenrir has 2.28 million, this one has 31 million. That means that every single incoming projectile which has King Killer on it, every single turret which has King Killer, is going to shoot at your flagship until it has lost 3 million health more than anything else, same as all the other ships. What this means for you is that you're going to want to build the flagship as a high evade tank. The standard build I gave you for your back 4 ships, or back 3 ships in my case, works completely fine, and you're going to want to stick with that there. But what you're going to want to do for the flagship is build it as a high evade tank. That means that all your weapons, save for 1 scattergun, and just go ahead and make it a regular non-limited scattergun because you won't really need the difference, is completely fine to come off for now. We'll put that back on later when we need a little bit more combat speed. In terms of your specials, every single special you equip should be able to help you either match range, which you don't need, or should give you evade or combat speed. The engine is our combat speed special, that's fine, that's going to stay there. We're going to use some evade specials. We're going to go with Guidance Scrambler 3 for our evade special, highest evade special in the game. The only difference between this and Agility System 4 is Agility System 4 is for PvP and has more build time. For special slot number 3, we're going to go for a little bit of a controversial special. This is again one that helps with evade, but this is going to be lower penetrative mount. This will give you minus combat speed, but will give you 30% evade, which is really nice. We also do need to just have the last 3B evade upgrade, which is perfectly fine by me. Throw those on there and you'll be up to scratch in no time. Unfortunately, our ship is too slow. We have a combat speed of less than 84. It needs to get up to 84 to be able to be effective. The standard way that people do this is by adding the V mortars, which is the D75V. Those things are nice, they give you plus 10%. Fortunately, you are not slowed down that much because, one, this is not a siege hull, so you can throw on other weapons which give you a benefit of combat speed, but don't have the unfortunate miscellaneous stat here of the 2 minute and 40 second base repair time. And again, you don't want to note that the range is a high of 85 on this one, and high of other stuff on other items. So the D35S has always been my favorite go-to. I believe it has the lowest build time. The L and the X are also pretty close in there, even the Z if you had wanted. You're going to want to use one of these things because it does not give you the 2 minute and 40-second extra repair duration for only giving you a tiny amount of 20 armor points. Just use one of these 4 cannons, pick your favorite. I tend to just go with the S's. I'm probably just going to pick one of each because why not? Why would you not just do one of those ones? What I'm going is the 5% combat speed is the important bit here, not necessarily any specific weapon, special, etc. The Earthshaker cannon is another option, but again, it does have the extra repair duration, and the Siege cannon W may have a little bit higher of a build time, but that's not important here. What is important is that you are using things that do help and increase your combat speed. For that reason, this ship is going to actually do no damage. This is not a damage dealing ship. This is just a random ship for you to be able to go up to speed and stay and match with your other ships there. So you want to get it up to 84, which this one at this point has right now. And again, doesn't matter what weapon you use here, this is not a damage dealing ship. And of course, you'll throw on the regular limiter CIC, which gives you an extra 5% evade, although it is not listed as an aura. A few other things that you might want to consider is your armors. You can play around with that and consider, oh, I think most of the King Killer stuff is penetrative. I'm just going to go with all penetrative armor, in which case that is okay. The other option for you is if you're getting up to U3 and already have a ton of survival on your ship right here, in addition to the base ones and your auras, which again is pretty big, and that is somewhat effective. 120k applied to each ship in the fleet here for strength of the pack. U3 will get you an extra 110k. You have a massive amount of survival on here, so the regular survival is not all that helpful. For that reason, you could actually consider using some evade armors. I'm not going to go with the D5 EV because I don't want to mess around with my turn speed here, and you could go with these other options right here. The D5E is a decent option. That will actually bring your evade up by a non-trivial amount here. It's 87, which is already a huge amount right here. You could play around with one of these ones, and that will get it even higher. You can get it up to, from 87, you go up to 92, and this is before crew, before alliance bonuses. So you can actually play around and go something crazy like this if you wanted to. This is probably pretty close to the build I'm going to go with for my final decision here. And again, it's going to be pretty interesting, but will require you to pretty much commit to getting to U3 to get that bonuses here by that first raid in the cycle, which I think will be difficult, but probably doable for most people if you're willing to spend 2 days worth of coining. If not, you're just building for the second raid here, which is something you could consider, but is not something that you should just always rely on. So just a few things to think about in that particular case. I actually might put a thrower on here because why not? Just make sure it doesn't conflict with the range or anything like that and call it good. So that's my idea for an evade tank. I originally just posted one to Discord within 5 minutes of looking at it with the D75E mortars on there, but there's no reason to throw those on there for the extra repair time. That wouldn't really make much sense here. I'll go ahead and put the hash code for the design you're seeing right now. I'll go ahead and paste that into this spot right here. You're going to click load and paste it in, and I'll post that in my builds document. If you do have any questions, go ahead and let me know. I'll do my best to get back to you pretty quickly. With that said, and until next time, this is Derpy signing out, helping you be a better pirate. And no, there's no lucky bastards after the outro this time.